Okay, we've got an interview here with Kamala Harris. Today, published today with CNN. So this is obviously a home turf environment that can't wheel Joe Biden's old ass out anymore. He he's a complete embarrassment, so they don't wheel him out. So here we got Kamala Harris. Now, some of you may not know that Kamala Harris is actually named after a professional wrestler who was around in the 1970s, 1980s, named Kamala the Ugandan Giant. His gimmick was a African cannibal. So some of you may not know this. So this is good information. So anyway, here's Kamala Harris with CNN. And let me tell you, I think it's possible that this woman may be dumber than Hillary Clinton. It's just, this is a woman, the Ugandan giant, who, affirmative action, that wasn't good enough for her. She had to go sleep her way to the top to become the DA of San Francisco. By the way, San Francisco, so that's pretty much all you need to know. You think people are going to elect somebody from San Francisco? I don't think so. Um, but she slept with Willie Brown, who, if you ever look at a picture of him, he kind of looks like a Beetlejuice. So he's he's a hideous monstrosity of a human being and a Democrat politician from San Francisco. So that's Kamala Harris. Basically, the absolute opposite of any sort of like meritocracy, as if anybody in the government deserves and has earned their position through any type of merit-based system. There is no such thing. Basically, you get the dirt on these people, and they just own them. So this is nonsense. This is all theater. This is all show. So let's look at this interview with Kamala Harris on home turf with CNN, and they've got their pantsuits, right? They've got their weird-looking feet. Why are her feet pink? I don't understand this. A very weird-looking individual. So let's go.
Senator Harris, thank you so much for sitting down and welcoming us to your alma mater, to
Yes,
Howard
the
University.
Mecca.
And we're going to talk about that later, but first I want to talk about what's going on right
Yes,
now
of course.
in the news, especially coronavirus.
Yeah.
If you win, your administration is going to inherit a really dire situation. A key model is projecting deaths could reach 3,000 a day.
Okay, 3,000 a day. Really? You're gonna sell this bullshit again? You are the people who said that there's going to be millions dead, all the hospitals were going to be overwhelmed, uh, and you're going to lie to us again. And here's this is home turf interview. So let's set her up for a softball question about how horrible Trump is. And here we go.
By December, in part because of
Well, by December, funny, after the election, of course. By December, they're going to have this. So if it doesn't happen in November, then they could just say, well, it was by December. But this is kind of a stopping point in history by December, you see. So none of this matters to them. So let's see how evil Kamala Harris, one of the dumbest women in history, to be put forward as a political candidate.
declining vigilance of the public. So, as you know, President Trump has promised a coronavirus vaccine by the end of
Yeah, it's your fault, by the way. Declining, it's the people. It's the people's fault, right? Because the government's never responsible for anything, really. It's the people's fault. It's your fault that they're going to have 3,000 deaths today because all you good people didn't wear masks when the government ordered you to. That's why.
the year or maybe sooner. Would you trust that vaccine?
I think that we have learned since this pandemic started, but really before that, that there's very little that we can trust that comes out of Donald Trump's mouth.
That's not what the question is, you retard. So she's got her planned answer here, right? Well, we can't trust Trump. But that's not what the question is. So she winds up talking herself into a corner here, and it's pretty funny how her and the interviewer try to kind of weasel their way out of this. The fact that she's just talked herself into a corner. The this woman is pretending like Trump himself is going to go put on the white lab coat, grab a Bunsen burner, put on the goggles, and sit here and mix the virus himself. He's going to fly to the CDC or whatever alphabet agency is pretending to do this. He's going to do it himself. He's going to mix up the virus himself, or he's going to mix up part of the virus. He's going to develop the antidote himself. like an evil scientist, like Dr. Shrinker Donald Trump is going to get into the laboratory and do it himself, and you shouldn't trust it because Trump is doing it himself. Now, never mind the fact he's just an executive. He's ordering people to do something. He's not getting involved with the actual chemical process. You fucking dunce. You dummy. You dumb fucking dummy, Kamala Harris. You know how goddamn stupid you sound when you say things like that.
From the beginning of this pandemic, he has called it a hoax. He has muzzled the public health experts.
Which public health experts has he muzzled? I don't remember this.
He has minimized the seriousness of it.
Yeah, you know what's minimalized the seriousness of it? The fact that nobody's dying. The fact the only people, the average age, the median age is like 75 of the people that are dying from this. That is literally the flu. That's kind of minimized the seriousness of it when you people were calling for, you know, the fact that this thing is going to overwhelm every single hospital in the U.S. and we have to flatten the curve. Well, the curve has been flattened to zero. Now what?
Has created false expectations for the American people and American families, even though if he had listened to the scientists and the experts, he would have understood.
What is this narrative here? He didn't listen to the scientists and the experts. He's the one who shut off immigration from China and later from Europe. Nancy Pelosi was in Chinatown saying this is no big deal. It's amazing the depth of the lies that these people will try to put across here. And again, but she's weaving herself a trap because she's really stupid. And this is funny here.
The gravity of it and the power that he as president of the United States has to actually save lives.
The power that the presidency of the United States is to actually save lives. What the fuck are you talking about? What? The president has the power to save lives. No, he's not a wizard. He's an executive. He's an executive of the feckless federal government who can't do anything correctly. Jesus H.
And none of those were his priorities. His priority was to do whatever he thought was politically expedient. And so.
What is she talking about here? His whatever he thought was politically expedient. I think she doesn't know what that term means. What on earth is she talking about? They're just trying to blame him. It's pretty obvious they're just trying to blame Trump for the virus, that as if the government could do anything about this. And what is it that they could do? They don't ever have answers. They don't make any sense. She's just gibberish.
No, I would not trust his word. I would trust the word of public health experts and scientists, but not Donald Trump.
But
Well, wait a minute. You would trust who do you think is creating the vaccine? You idiot. Do you think Trump himself is getting into the lab coat on and mixing the chemicals together in the Oval Office? You think he's doing it, or do you think these? God, she's so stupid. And now watch this. Watch the trap. She's talked herself into a corner, and now watch this reporter try to grab her hand and dig her out of it. But it's an epic fail.
do you trust that in the situation where we're in now, that the public health experts and the scientists will get the last word on the efficacy of a vaccine?
If past is prologue, that they will not. They'll be muzzled. They'll be suppressed. They will be sidelined.
How are you sidelined when they're the ones creating the vaccine? How does that make any sense whatsoever? So who's creating the vaccine, you idiot? Look at this dunce.
Because he's looking at an election coming up in less than 60 days, and he's grasping for whatever he can get to pretend that he has been a leader on this issue when he is not.
So let's just say there's a vaccine that is approved and even distributed before the election. Would you get it?
Well, I think that's going to be an issue for all of us.
So she can't answer the question. She can't answer it. So these health experts that you just put up on this pedestal here, all these great health experts that you've venerated in the last 30 seconds, they create this vaccine. Now, what are you going to take it, you dumb bitch? Or are you just not going to take it because it's under the Trump presidency? You just can't give him any credit because it's Trump. It's going to be an issue for any of us. What kind of a fucking answer is that? So you're telling people not to take a vaccine depending on who's the executive in the White House? Is that what you're saying, you fucking retard?
I will say that I would not trust Donald Trump, and it would have to be
Jesus
a credible
Christ.
source of information that talks about the efficacy and the reliability of whatever he's.
What do you think is going to happen, you dunce? You think Trump is going to put it out himself? And all the CDC is going to say, no, don't take it. Who do you think is developing it, you idiot?
Talking about. I will not take his word for it. He wants us to inject bleach. No, I won't.
Oh, please, please. What a cheap shot. This woman is so fucking stupid. He wants us to inject bleach. Yeah, that's what Trump said. He said he wants us to inject bleach. You retard.
I will not take his word.
Dr. Fauci said a vaccine wouldn't be approved unless the American people had really assurances that it was safe and that he feels that it was safe and that if that happens, he would take it. Do you feel more comfortable hearing someone like Dr. Fauci say that?
No, I think Dr. Fauci has proven for anyone who's been watching him for years and years to put the public health of the American people as the highest priority in terms of his work and his reputation and his priority. Yes, I trust Dr. Fauci.
So let's look down the road.
Well, just skate over that answer, huh? You talked yourself into a corner, and they just let you go. They just let you go like that. Who do you think is going to develop the virus vaccine, you idiot? It's Trump and his evil scientists. But Fauci, he's great. What a joke. This woman is so stupid. Like she just lets her go right here. She tries very hard to hold her hand through this basic easy question, but she's so dumb she can't do it.
That at some point, hopefully, there will be a
Yes.
credible
Yes.
and a safe vaccine for coronavirus. If and when that happens, should all 50 states require students to get that vaccine before entering public school?
There's a simple answer. No, absolutely not.
Well, first, Dana, I would say that there's a huge distinction between creation of a vaccine and then peer-reviewed and to the point that it is actually viable. Big difference between vaccine and vaccinations.
Absolutely.
And one of the issues that I think is very critical on this point about whether people are actually vaccinated is whether there's a national plan. Joe Biden and I have a plan, a national plan. Donald Trump does not.
What is your national plan then, dunce?
And so when we start breaking down different populations, there has to be an overall plan that thinks about those who, and will administer vaccines to those who have been hardest hit, who are most vulnerable and most in need. And that's the kind of approach we need to have.
When you get to the point of vaccinations, would that plan include requirement for public schools to take the coronavirus vaccine?
I will listen to the public health experts and hear what they have to say.
So you're just a dunce and you can't make any decisions. That's basically what this person is. This person has lived their life in government. They can't make any decisions at all. They just push paper. She's just a bureaucrat, just an idiot. This is a true leader. Well, we've got a plan. Just trust us. We're gonna give the vaccine to the most vulnerable, whatever that means. But just all of her talk is just complete nonsense. There's nothing practical about this woman whatsoever. She's a complete idiot.
Early on, the former Vice President, Joe Biden, appeared to support a federal mask mandate. And now he says he would put a lot of pressure on governors, on mayors, on local officials for them to issue the mandate. So can you clear this up? What exactly is the
Nervous smile.
Biden-Harris stance on this? Would a Biden-Harris administration support a federal mask mandate?
So the Biden-Harris position on this is that leaders must lead.
What?
And one of the ways leaders lead is they set standards. And so what Joe has been very clear about in his personal behavior, much less in what he is admonishing and requesting of the American people, is that we all make the sacrifice
Admonishing the
to wear a
American people.
mask in the interest of love of our neighbor, in the interest of
In the interest of love of our neighbor. What in the hell are you talking about? Are you going to force people to wear masks or not, you idiot?
defeating or at least reducing the health risks and the number of deaths in America. So it's about a national standard. Everyone should wear a mask. And here's the thing about this. None of us likes wearing a mask. Nobody likes to
Right,
wear
but there's
a mask.
a difference between a
But it's
standard.
about sacrifice.
Right, there's a difference between a standard and a mandate. Would it be a federal mandate under the Biden-Harris administration?
It would be a standard. No, listen, this is not about in terms of the priorities of Joe Biden and myself, this is not about punishment.
It sure seems like it is.
It's not about Big Brother. It is
It
simply
sure
about
seems like it
saying what
is.
a leader, but what a leader says in times of
You're
crisis.
not
And
a
this is,
leader.
you look at World War II, you look at the Great Depression, where leaders said, we each have to
What?
sacrifice for the sake of the nation and the collective. And that's what this is about.
Right. And
You're equating people, using World War II when they mobilized the entire country to go fight the evil Nazis. You're equating this to wearing fucking masks for a fake vaccine. And we have to sacrifice because we have to wear this stupid piece of cloth that doesn't fucking help anyway. That is a total psyop to get you to mistrust your neighbor. Ridiculous.
And I get that, but how do you enforce a standard, especially when, as you know, there are governors who are who just don't agree with that and they're not mandating it on the more local level? How do you enforce
But
that?
I think that part of the issue here is that we have a president of the United States who made this a partisan issue.
That's a non-answer. How do you enforce your totalitarian state where you force people to wear PPE? You force people to which is a complete disaster. If they can force you to wear a mask, what else can they force you to do?
And made it a political issue. And he had governors who fell in line with
What the fuck are you talking about? Trump has not said anything uh, partisan. What are you talking about?
him on his politics.
And you don't think it'll still be a partisan issue if
I,
you win?
I hope not. I pray not, because the COVID, the virus, could care less who you voted for in the last election or who you plan to vote for in the next election. And we need leadership that appreciates that on certain issues they should not be partisan. And wearing a mask certainly shouldn't be one of them.
I want to turn to
You're talking about forcing people to wear a mask, a nationwide federal government mandate, and you are too dumb to understand this.
Kenosha.
Okay.
You
Here we go.
believe that the officer who shot Jacob Blake should be charged. You were the district attorney
Yeah.
in San Francisco. I'm wondering if you put yourself in the position of the DA in Kenosha and how you would feel if you got pressure from the Democratic running mate to be vice president of the United States to put criminal charges in without necessarily knowing the facts that the DA knows.
Yeah, why would you
You're
do that?
absolutely right. And that's why I've been very clear. I am not in full possession of the facts of the case.
I'm not in full possession of the facts of the case, but I'm going to go ahead and say that he should be charged anyway. You're just admitting that you're a fucking idiot and you're opening your big dumb mouth when you shouldn't.
But based on what I've seen, I think that charges very much should be considered.
Are you fucking kidding me? You just said that you don't know what you're talking about. And you're a vice presidential candidate. You're no longer just a dunce from a goofball from the West Coast that nobody listens to. You're now a vice presidential candidate. You idiot.
And should be considered in a very serious way, and that there should be accountability and
Very
consequence.
serious way, as opposed to a non-serious way to charge a police officer for murder.
But I think the bigger point here is also that we have to agree that we can't have a system that does not require accountability and
A system.
consequence for everyone who breaks the rules or breaks the law. And that includes police officers. But everyone is entitled to due process.
Doesn't sound like it.
Including police officers. And I encourage that. I support that. I think our democracy and our system of justice requires that.
The way I took what you said, I think it was last week, was much more forward-leaning.
No,
that
I
they
think
should
he
be charged.
I think that based
That
on
he
what
should
I
be
saw,
charged.
I think based on what I saw, he should be charged. But I am not in full possession of the facts.
Then why are you talking? If you're not in full possession of the facts, then why are you saying anything? Are you dumb?
And I'm clearly not the prosecutor in the case. And the prosecutor in the case must make a decision based on all of the evidence and all of the laws that include giving everyone, and in particular those who might be charged, due process in the process.
I'm sure you've been
I'm just
following the story
flabbergasted by how
in
stupid this
Rochester,
woman
New York.
is.
Yeah.
We've had another incident. 7 officers were suspended after the death of another black man, Daniel Prude. So should those officers?
Here you go. You get your media. Just rile the people up. This is so disgusting. They just cherry pick these incidents one after the other. They just cherry pick them and just get everybody all riled up. And here we go again. What a joke. These people are disgusting.
Officers be charged based on what you know?
I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to the prosecutors who are involved in that case, and in particular, I know that the Attorney General the Attorney General of New York is reviewing the case, and I expect that they will review all of the evidence and make the appropriate decision.
Because this is where you come from,
Yeah.
law enforcement,
Yes.
and
you're
top
a
cop is where you
pig.
come from. I want to ask about something that you wrote in a 2009 book,
Okay.
which is, if we take a show of hands of those who would like to see more police officers on the streets, mine would shoot up. And then in June of this year, you said to the New York Times, it is status quo thinking to believe that putting more police on the streets creates more safety. That's wrong. So my question for you now, in retrospect, looking at your time as DA and as Attorney General of California through the lens of 2020, did you help contribute to what you describe as a status quo thinking, that more police equals more safety?
The status quo thinking that more police equals more safety. Well, basically, it does. It does. So she was right in 2006, but let's see how we have to bullshit our way through this because it's an election year.
I am very clear that we have got to, in America, reimagine how we are accomplishing public safety.
No, we don't. We absolutely do not. We have to stop the media from cherry picking stories and giving 10 seconds of a 2-minute video and letting the people get all riled up because of your lies, because of your nonsense. That's what we need to do. There's nothing the police officers need to do.
And what I believe now and what I believed then remains true and consistent, which is, if you look at the communities that have no or very little police presence as compared to those who have a high degree of police presence, you will see stark differences. And one of them is this: if you go into any upper class suburb in America, you will not see police presence, but what you will see are well-funded public schools.
Why do you think that is? Oh, by the way, that's a lie. The well-funded public schools is a lie. It costs way more to educate people in the shittiest schools than it does because they need, English as second language. They need, special ed teachers. That's an absolute lie because they need way more education in these costs. So the cost per pupil for public school at least is way higher in your crappier schools. But the first part, why do you think that is? That the places that don't need police don't have crime. What do you think that is? Who do you think calls the police? This is just a joke. It, it, this woman is completely full of shit.
High rates of home ownership, small businesses that have access to capital. You'll see families who have jobs where they don't have to worry about getting to the end of the month and feeding their children. And so
Yeah.
if we want to create safe communities, one of the smartest ways we can do that is invest in the health of those communities, because healthy communities are safe
Put
communities.
your hand.
Okay. So that means just we're going to raise your taxes. We're just going to raise taxes and just give it. Because magically these small businesses will show up out of nowhere. If you just create economic zones in Oakland, then that's just going to create, all the problems will go away. You just raise taxes on people that are actually work for a living. That'll make all these things disappear. It has nothing to do with anything else, by the way. Nothing to do with anything else.
Hand still shoot up if somebody asks if you would want more police officers on your streets?
What I would say now is what I would say then, which is, I want to make sure that if a woman is raped, a child is molested, or one human being murders another human being, that there will be a police officer that responds to that case, and that there will be accountability and consequence for the offender. Yes.
Okay. Here's the second part. Why isn't this working?
Attorney General William
All right, now we're going to get a
Attorney
little more
General William Barr.
spicy here. The second part. Here we go.
Attorney General William Barr said on CNN that he does not believe there are two justice systems in the United States for black and white Americans. He added, I think we have to be a little careful about throwing the idea of racism around.
Based.
And I don't think it is as common
Based.
as people suggest. What do you think?
I think that Donald Trump and Bill Barr are spending full time in a different reality.
Yeah, exactly. in reality. You're not living in reality. You're living in this fake where you have to rile people up. Oh, we have all these problems, all these poor people. No, bullshit. You're full of fucking shit.
The reality of America today is what we have seen over generations and, frankly, since our
Hmm.
inception, which is we do have two systems of justice in America. But
Yeah,
here's
there's a
the thing.
system of justice for Nancy Pelosi, and there's a system of justice for everybody else. That's the reality. Don't give me this crap like the, oh, we have two systems of justice for the poor black people. Yeah, right. Um, that's because you have to. Why do you have to edit these videos? Why does Jesse Smollett have to fake his hate crimes? Why are there so many fake hate crimes if things are so bad? Why do you have to make them up if things are so terrible in this country? Why do you have to make them up? Why, it's just common sense. There isn't. The media is fucking playing with you. The media is starting all this bullshit. They don't have this fucking dis, these racial problems without the media. They have to cherry pick these stories. They take 20 seconds out of a 2-minute video. They take the worst part. Oh, look at how terrible the police are. Look at how horrible racist people are. It's been the same shit for years now. You people have lied about it. Now the only question is how long they've been lying about it. Have been lying since 1950. Is the entire Civil Rights Act based on bullshit? We don't know now. How would you trust the media? How would you go back and trust the media now? None of us were alive back then. We weren't alive in the 1930s. We weren't alive back then. So how would you trust these people? Been saying that things are so terrible. Oh, our nation's history is so bad. Based on what? Could you imagine what a history book would look like, 20 years from now if these people were to write it? There would be nothing true about it at all. So why would you trust anything now?
Thing that gives me a sense of optimism and a sense of belief in who we are as a nation. We also have an ideal that is inscribed in marble on the Supreme Court that we all hold dear, which is that ideal of equal justice under law. And so while we have two
We
systems
do
of
not.
justice, we also fight for equal justice under law. And, and that means doing what Joe Biden and I are proposing, which is having a criminal justice system that, yes, bans chokeholds and carotid holds. Make sure that we're going
That's
to
the real
require.
problem in America, banning chokeholds. Not the fact that 13% of the population is committing 50% of the murders. That's not the problem. Not gang violence. Not the fact that there are no-go zones. Not that you're importing violent Somalians that are burning down entire cities. That's not the problem. Chokeholds are the problem. Your cherry pick stories. You see how it works? You cherry pick your stories. You take your 15-second clips. Oh, this person is bad. And then you have to create an entire policy based on it, based on nonsense.
Accountability for police officers who break the rules and
There
break the
already is.
law.
They already get
That we're going
fired.
to invest
What,
in
where's the
communities.
where's the non where's the lack of accountability when they all get fired and charged with murder? Where's the lack of accountability, you dumb bitch? Where is it? All these officers get fired, they get charged with murder, they get their lives ruined. Who is going to be a police officer under your dumb rules? This fucking person. I can't stand this person. She's just the same as these other idiots. Nothing but fucking lies out of this woman's mouth. Nothing.
And the economic strength of those communities. But doing it all recognizing that there are huge disparities in our country based on
Why
race.
is that? Gee, I wonder why that is. Is it because that you people in your policies ever since the civil rights era, you've destroyed the black family, you've destroyed black businesses. You've done this. Why is that? Oh, it's got to be some invisible problem like racism, isn't it? It's got to be some invisible problem. It can't be just the fact that, outcomes are what they are. It can't be the fact that there's 70% of these people that are born out of wedlock and there's no families, and you've created an entire culture of dependability on the government. And it's not good. This isn't an excuse. Like I've said before, what good does it do me to have, entire places in the United States where these people are suffering? Am I supposed to feel superior for that? Because I don't. I grew up in poor countries, poor areas, not countries. I have visited poor countries, and what's happening is it's ridiculous the way these people just speak to you on the sides of their mouth like, oh, it's not your fault. Oh, it's not. It's somebody else's fault. It's evil Whitey's fault, right? It's systemic racism. Let's just make up a word for it. We'll make up a whole different thing. We'll make up all these words like anti-Semitism and racism and sexism. We'll just we'll just create all these different boogeymen that are the cause of all these problems when you're the ones who did it in the first place. You've created with your communist nonsense, your communist shit that you tried to push, that you got pushed back on ever since the 1930s with your Frankfurt School cultural Marxism nonsense and your critical race theory that just got snuffed out by Trump. You're trying to make excuses for all this shit. And all it is just a gateway to we're just going to take all your wealth. We're going to import people to replace you. It's just excuses. You're the ones who have done this. Okay? You're the ones who have caused this problem.
And it does us no good if we want to solve those disparities to pretend they don't exist.
And that
Pretend they don't exist. Okay, well, let's pretend they exist. The disparities exist, all right? The disparities exist. Sure, we can look at test scores. We can look at the people in prison. And you can say, okay, well, there's this magical, invisible boogeyman that's creating all these problems. That's the problem with creating these disparities. There's always these people. They always have a solution for you. For the last 50 years, oh, we've got these big problems. Like Obama had to fundamentally transform the United States. That's what he said he was going to do. He's got to fundamentally transform the United States. There's always these problems they got to solve. You never hear see a politician. You know what? Things are pretty good. So we got a few things to fix, but yeah, we're going pretty good. So we're just gonna like give you back your money. We're gonna get rid of these taxes that are, we started 20 years ago to build this big sports stadium. We're gonna give that back to you now because we don't really need it. No, no, it's just not. No, they're just these people have to justify their existence. So that's why they say that white nationalism is a big problem. Evil white supremacists are an actual problem. We need the SBLC. We need the ADL. We need all these agencies to follow up on these accusations by these agencies that get a lot of money from rich Hollywood people. And we need the FBI to follow up on it and trap people. See, look at these boogeymen. And again, who does this all? Who makes this all happen? This woman right here. Her ilk. These people are the ones that are telling you all this nonsense. And then you get this shit like this, a vice presidential candidate telling you, oh, what do we got to do for these racial disparities? They'll be whining about this for the next 100 years. They'll be blaming white people for the next 100 years. The people that have families, the people that have stable families are doing just fine. The people that aren't, the people that have 4 kids from 4 different people, they're not doing fine. And that's it. And there's nothing the government can do except stop giving them fucking money for having kids out of wedlock. Stop giving this entitlement, stop fostering this entitlement mentality. That's the only way out of this. And the people are going to have to clean up their own communities. There's nothing that anybody else can do about it. There's nothing the federal government is going to do about it. Look at all these homeless people. The homeless people on the streets, all over the place. The aid workers. Now, I work with some people who do this. Uh, well, I shouldn't say I do that. I've come across people in my job who tell me about this. They're in charge of maintenance of some of these areas. They go out there, they put social workers out there, and they refuse the aid. So the government can't help these people. They don't want to be helped. If you just allow people to do whatever and you encourage their shitty behavior, then you're going to get more shitty behavior. It's just common sense. But you get people like this, the vice presidential candidate, so, oh, it's all your fault. Let's see what she says.
that exists in police forces across the country.
There's no question that we have seen
I missed that
an
question.
unacceptable,
Across the country.
but doing it all recognizing that there are huge disparities in our country based on race. And it does us
It's
no
so
good.
fucking disgusting to me that just it's based on race. Really? Really? Is that why we have affirmative action? Oh, you've got every possible advantage legally. Um, if you're a woman, you get to go through to STEM and engineering school or anything. You just get pushed through, no matter if you're good enough or not. You just get shoved all the way through. Then some employer's going to deal with you, or worse off, you work for the government. You've got no chances, huh? And if you're a minority, it's same deal. You get to start businesses. You get to start businesses and you get federal money. You get federal set asides for contracts if you start businesses, if you have the agency to start businesses. But you're going to tell me that, oh, it's based on race. It's not based on race, you idiot. This is when they get equity involved. We have to just make the outcomes equal, no matter what.
If we want to solve those disparities, to pretend they don't exist.
And that exists in police forces across the country?
There's no question that we have seen an unacceptable incidents for generations of unarmed black men being killed.
Are you fucking kidding me? There was 10 last year. There's more white people get killed than black people. This is a straight lie. This is a straight lie, this woman. There's more white people get killed than black people by the police. Everybody knows this. You're just lying.
Nobody can
I can
deny
deny it
that.
right now. Look at the fucking
You look at
numbers,
the
you retard.
numbers, and
Look at the fucking numbers. Look at this dunce. She's just giving her talking points. She's too dumb. This woman doesn't know her ass from a hole in the ground.
proportionate to the population, a black man is exponentially more likely to be stopped without probable cause, arrested.
Really?
You can look at, for example, marijuana
What are the
offenses.
numbers then? Give me the numbers if you're so sure of this. What are the numbers?
Equal use between white population and black population, but black people are exponentially more likely to be arrested and
What are the
prosecuted for
numbers then? If they're exponentially more likely, what are the numbers? Tell me.
those offenses. So I don't think that most reasonable people who are paying attention to the facts would dispute that there are racial disparities and a system that has engaged in racism.
I want to ask.
Fuck you. Just fuck you. I mean, she didn't even talk about like the real problems. She has to pull out these cherry-picked bullshit videos that CNN and the rest of the media, the Lügenpresse, that they put forward. This is what they're talking about. They could make an argument. I thought they were going to make an actual argument about, okay, well, so and so has, less, there's less people in college or the median incomes are lower. But no, we're just talking about this. We're talking about being arrested by the police. Just nonsense. When anyone with a brain says, well, why don't you just like listen to what the cop says? This is nonsense. This is the quote unquote racism that you find. Again, racism doesn't exist. They have to make it up. The numbers don't even align with this. Oh, you're more likely to be pulled over for no reason, exponentially. What do you mean? What are you talking about? Where are the numbers to back this up? You're lying. You're flat out lying, you dunce.
About Russia.
Oh my God.
The Department of
Are
Homeland
you
Security.
fucking kidding me? Russia, we're going to bring this up.
In racism.
I want to ask about Russia.
Oh
Yeah.
my
The
God.
Department of Homeland Security bulletin said that Russia is trying to amplify claims that mail-in voting will lead to widespread voting fraud and undermine the public's trust in the upcoming election.
Can this woman read? Does this woman know how to read? And you're actually going to go with Russia again. You're going to go with this after you've been busted on this lying nonsense for fucking 3 years. You're going to go with this.
Are you worried that Russian interference could cost you the election?
I am clear that Russia interfered in the election of President of the United States in 2016.
Are you fucking kidding me? Are you worried that Russia's going to hack the election again? Do they know they're going to lose? Is that it? Does CNN already know that nobody's going to vote for this fucking retard and this zombie? And that Trump has got more support, more actual support than any president in, 50 years? Maybe since Reagan, maybe before? maybe since JFK, and they're gonna put out this fucking cop and this zombie. Maybe they know that nobody's gonna pretend to even care about these two idiots. I can't believe they're talking about this again. You got to be fucking kidding me.
And the public's trust in the upcoming election. Are you worried that Russian interference could cost you the election?
I am clear that Russia interfered in the election of President of the United States in
You mean
2016.
Trump spied on you? Or you mean Trump got spied on by Obama? You mean Biden, who was in the White House, who was a vice president at the time, interfered in the election and spied on Trump? You mean that, you dunce?
I serve on the Senate Intelligence
That's that
Committee.
that
We
explains a
have
lot.
published detailed reports about exactly what we believe happened.
What
And,
about Obama spying on Trump? Is
and
this
I
idiot going to ask her about that? I highly doubt it.
do believe that there will be foreign interference in the 2020 election and that Russia will be
By
at the front of
Israel?
the line.
Could it cost you the White House?
Theoretically, of course.
Theoretically, of course. You're already making excuses. Look at this person. Just look right here. She just realized what she said. And like, oh God, I just made an excuse. I just built in an excuse for us. I just actually said that Russia could hack the election again. I actually said that. Oh my God, what have I done? What have I done? Look at this person. Just fucking look at you. This is what you've said. Whoops, I think I fucked up. I think people are going to make fun of me now.
Yes.
And that's based on
Bullshit!
what you're hearing publicly, or you mentioned you're on the
I
Senate
mean, I'm
Intelligence
not, listen, let me
Committee.
just tell you something. We have to be a realist, and I'm a realist about it. Joe's a realist about it. We
What?
have
What? You have to be a realist about, oh, poor Russia's going to make him hack the election.
classic voter suppression at play in this election
That's
coming up.
Russia's fault. Classic
Where
voter suppression. This is the part where they want people to show their IDs. Voter suppression actually means they want to prevent um, people from harvesting ballots, people from voting illegally, from bussing people in like they do. Let's be honest here. Everybody knows that the Democrats have been cheating for decades. In the 2008 election, Obama got 104% of all possible votes. 104% in precincts in Philadelphia. Harry Reid has got Las Vegas on lockdown. There's no question about that. These people have been cheating for decades. Project Veritas has all but proven that. And that's about the only thing that those guys have done good besides the Acorn thing, which was pretty funny. The guy pretended to be a prostitute. The James O'Keefe and Project Veritas basically proved that these guys they just bust people in. They just bust people in to vote. They flaunt the rules. They don't use the rules. Everybody knows this is going on, and everybody knows that they're doing this mail-in voting nonsense just to completely harvest votes. They've already basically admitted that Trump is going to be way ahead on election day, and but later on that when all the mail-in votes come in, then that's going to put Biden over the edge, as if you know 90% of mail-in ballots are going to be Democrat. This is going to be the biggest joke you'll ever see. This is going to be a coup. They're setting up a coup, is what they're trying to do here, which is really disgusting.
where after the Supreme Court gutted the Voting Rights Act with Shelby v. Holder in 2013, dozens of states passed laws that were designed to suppress the black vote, to suppress students from voting, to
Criminals.
suppress our indigenous people from
You mean
voting.
criminals?
So much so that in North Carolina, a court of appeals said the law was passed with surgical precision to
Based.
get in the way of black voters from voting. So we have classic voter suppression.
Sure.
We have what happened in 2016, which is foreign interference.
She's already making excuses. You know how weak this sounds? This is so weak.
We have a president who is trying to convince the American people not to believe in the integrity of our election system and compromise their belief that their vote might actually count.
No, everybody knows that you cheat. That's what it is. Everybody knows that your side cheats, and you've done it for decades. Everybody knows this. O'Keefe busted it open, bitch. You can't fucking hide no more.
These things are all at play. And I am very realistic.
Yeah,
Joe is very
these things are all at play. We're going to stop you from cheating. That's all of those things that you talked about. All these things are like Republicans attempting to stop you from cheating. But you know what? You're still going to cheat, and we know it.
very realistic about the fact that until we can win and get in
What?
and put some teeth back in the Voting Rights Act and bring back the public's confidence in the system, that there will be many obstacles that people are intentionally placing in front of Americans' ability to vote. But we will surpass and surmount and get around those
We will get
obstacles.
around those obstacles to us cheating.
President Trump, Vice President Pence, they've been campaigning more and more on the issue of fracking, which
What?
is a process of oil and gas drilling.
Who fucking cares about fracking? Yeah, fracking has actually made us completely energy independent. It's been awesome. Next question.
They think that this is going to help them win votes in key states like Pennsylvania. Joe
Yeah.
Biden has said, quote, I am not banning fracking. During your primary campaign, you said that you supported a ban. Are you comfortable with Joe Biden's position?
Yes, because Joe is saying, listen, one, those are good paying jobs in places like Pennsylvania.
Well, but here they're talking about both sides, out of both sides of their mouth again, because they're, if you watch these people in the debates, they're going to end fracking, everything. They're just, global warming this. We're going to ban coal. We're going to ban coal-fired plants. And all of a sudden now he's going to allow fracking. Which one is it, bitch? You lying bitch.
And two, that we need to also invest and put a significant investment in the good paying union jobs that we can create around clean energy, around renewable energy.
Now you're going to pretend that you care about jobs. Now you're going to pretend after you pay lip service to the Green New Deal. There's people in your party want to outlaw the internal combustion engine, and now you're going to say you're for these. Does anybody believe? Who believes these people? Who believes these fucking people? The nerve, the fucking nerve of these people. Oh, now we're for union jobs. No, you're not. You haven't been for union jobs in a decade. You didn't build that party. This is Obama's party. You can't take it back. This is Obama's. The government does everything. We only care about the most useless people in society. We only care about illegal immigrants. You don't care about working people. Are you fucking kidding me? Is that why you want to replace them? You care so much about these union jobs? Renewable, renewable jobs. Yeah, there's no such thing. That doesn't create jobs. More government regulation does not create jobs. This is just a fucking dumb misnomer. You create more, it creates more red tape. It gets in the way of jobs, is what it does. You don't create jobs by creating more government regulation. This is such nonsense.
And that is the kind of approach we need to have. But always understanding that it's a false choice to suggest that we either take care of jobs or we take care of our environment. We can do both, and we should do both.
Yeah, the way you want to do that is outlaw the internal combustion engine, and you're gonna build fucking bird killing machines everywhere. Oh, these are creating jobs. You're gonna force everybody to put green solar roofs on, which raises the cost of housing by $30,000 per. This is what you idiots want to do. If you, I've never seen a party with so little fiscal sense whatsoever. They just completely ignore economics of anything. Just ridiculous. Oh, you could still have these green jobs. It's like God jobs, green jobs. We care about this. There's no such thing. You're going to shut down coal power plants. Is what you're going to do. You've already shut down manufacturing because you make it so fucking hard for people to set up business with your ridiculous environmental constraints. Basically, the environment is such a fucking joke. The whole thing as an issue is a joke. Everything got cleaned up like 20 years ago. There's no need for any of this environmental nonsense anymore. They have to make shit up right now. They have to invent problems like global warming in order to fix it. That's what your green jobs are. It's nonsense. Just give them spoons. Why aren't they using spoons? That's the whole argument.
On the economy, we
Yeah.
have new jobs
Yeah.
numbers out at the end of the week show that unemployment is at 8.4%. And not great, but about where
Not
President
great. Not great. It was at 13%. Not great. You people have tried to destroy the economy through this fake virus, through these scare tactics. It's not great. Go fuck yourself.
Obama had it in 2012. And so my question is, are you worried, despite the fact that it's, again, not great, that things are coming back to the point where Donald Trump could have more meat on the bone for his economic argument?
Are you worried that the economy is getting good so you won't win? That's that question from this cunt. Are you worried? Oh, by the way, it's not great. It's not great. It's way better than expected, but it's not great. Are you worried that the economy is actually doing well? So then that means you might lose the election. That's what this fucking bitch just said. The fucking media. That's the media for you, 2020.
Argument that it's coming back.
Listen, I want the American people to be able to work. I want that we have jobs that are filled by the hardworking people who want to work and want to have the dignity that comes with good work.
Except white people and men.
But there is no question that Donald Trump has been an abject failure and incompetent when it comes to addressing the severe job loss that has happened as a result of the pandemic.
What? You're trying to play this card? It's Trump's fault that you people shut down everything? What? What are you trying to say? That the guy who's at the stock market is the all-time high. Now, say what you will about the number red line go up, green line go down, whatever. Green line go up, red line go down as a viable indicator of the economy. However, to try to say that the economy hasn't been good under Trump is fucking stupid. If you're gonna play this, you're just dumber than I think.
Because he has failed to address the pandemic itself. And when
Again,
we look
Trump's got to get his lab coat on. Trump's got to get his lab coat on. Get the Bunsen burner fired up. Stir up. Get it yourself. Get it going, Trump. Come on. What are you doing?
at this path, hopefully at some point to recovery, his perspective cannot be our perspective, because his perspective for too long is to talk about how well the economy is doing based on how rich people are doing.
What? Are we doing this again? Are we doing this again? This is what I just talked about. These people are so economically illiterate. It's just ridiculous. Yeah, everyone's got a 401k, dude. Everyone's got a 401k who works these jobs, okay? Not everyone, but oh my God.
We need to talk about how the economy is doing based on how working people are doing.
What she means is like minimum wage jobs. And they've removed all the minimum wage jobs because of the stupid pandemic. And they forced shutdowns of bars and restaurants. And you're going to blame Trump. And you just said he wasn't serious about the virus. So which one is it? Which one is it? He didn't shut down enough stuff? He's not taking it seriously enough. Well, they shut down every fucking thing that there is. So what was Trump supposed to do there? Is he supposed to invent jobs for people?
And right now, working people are suffering. People are standing or sitting in their cars in food lines for hours. Dana,
In
we
food
have,
lines.
I saw a number that 1 in 5 mothers in America is describing her children under the age of 12 as being hungry.
Oh, please, bitch, please. In the United States of America. No, this is not Afghanistan. Go fuck yourself.
That's America today.
No, it isn't. You're full of
And,
shit.
and we need leadership that cares about that.
We care. Elect us because we care. We don't have any numbers. We're completely economically illiterate. I'm an ex-cop who slept my way to the top. Affirmative action wasn't good enough for me, so I had to sleep with a gargoyle named Willie Brown in order to get my job. Fuck you.
Instead of looking in a mirror and then and professing greatness.
What the fuck are you talking? Looking in the mirror and professing greatness. She's not even a good. Holy fuck.
And in fact, there is abject despair.
Republican operatives have been helping Kanye West get on the ballot in several states, including Minnesota and Colorado. It's being seen as an effort to win over potential Biden voters and help Donald Trump in the states where he's on the ballot or he's getting there. Are you concerned that these efforts are going to be successful?
You're, oh my God, Republican operatives. The Lugenpresse at it again. Republican operatives are cheating because nobody wants to vote for my dumbass and Biden's corpse.
Listen, Joe and I are going to work
Well,
hard.
they're basically saying the voters, black voters, are dumb. That's what this woman has just said. Black voters are stupid, and they're going to vote for Kanye rather than Bus because if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. That's basically what that question is. It's a pretty racist question, if you ask me. Isn't that kind of like what they would? I don't think racism exists, so I'm not going to say it. I'm going to say look, this is what I would consider them to consider racism.
Um, it's being seen as an effort to win over potential Biden
Black
voters.
people, just say it. Just say it. You can't say it, can you? You can't say it because then you call them stupid, don't you? You call them stupid because they're too dumb to vote for Democrat because they're going to vote for Kanye.
And help Donald Trump in the states where he's on the ballot or he's getting there. Are you concerned that these efforts are going to be successful?
Listen, Joe and I are going to work hard to earn every vote.
Kanye West doesn't scare you?
What is the biggest challenge and the biggest goal is to earn the vote of everyone. And that's going to be about telling folks about how we will build back better. It's about telling folks that we're going to put science and public health concerns ahead of politics. It's about saying we're going to grow our economy.
They give her a chance to summarize here with her bullshit platitudes.
And invest in the jobs of the
Invest. They
future
always
and
want
in
to
the
invest. That means just raise the shit out of your taxes
American worker
and give it to people like
and the
this.
American family. And that's how we're going
Raise
to
the
earn
hell
those.
out of your taxes so you can pay for people like me to work my way up the system by sleeping with people and by affirmative action. That's what you get by investing. You invest in things, right? The government grows and grows and grows and grows, and then they have the capacity to go, shut you down your Twitter because you say the N word, or have the FBI come and knock on your door because you're an evil white person. That's what this does. This piece of shit.
Votes.
Thank you, Senator.
What a
You're well.
joke. Well, these people are sick. 57 minutes in this video. Holy balls, this fucking idiot. Who in their right mind would? Richard Spencer, like, oh, these people are much more capable. They have much more capacity. Listen to this woman talk now for 57 minutes with my interruptions. Do you? Are you serious? I think she's dumber than Hillary. She's more useless than Hillary. She's just a dullard, just a boring, dullard person who's not very bright. This is unbelievable. These fucking people.